Put your hands behind your back. The command reached Maya Reynolds before Sergeant Ethan Walker had even finished looking at the black sedan beside her. Maya stood beneath the concrete lights of the hotel parking structure, rain blowing through the open entrance behind her, both hands already visible near her sides. "You have not checked the plate," she said. Walker stepped closer. "The vehicle matches a possible stolen car report." Possible is not confirmed. Officer Jason Miller stood several feet away near the patrol cruiser, watching information load across the mobile terminal. Maya glanced past both officers toward the service garage. A dark sport utility vehicle sat near the exit lane with its running lights glowing against the wet concrete. Nathan Cole was inside. 6 weeks of work were sitting less than 80 feet away, preparing to leave. Walker noticed her attention shift. "Look at me." Maya did. "I am looking at you." "Then stop watching the garage." "I cannot." Walker's expression hardened. "Why?" Maya held his gaze. "Because the man you should be watching is about to leave." Miller looked toward the dark vehicle. Walker did not. "Turn around." Maya remained still for half a second. She could end this misunderstanding with one credential wallet hidden beneath her coat, but revealing it here could expose an undercover investigation that had taken federal agents more than a month to build. Hotel guests were already gathering near the glass doors. A woman beneath the awning held a phone toward the parking area. Nathan needed to believe Maya was exactly what her temporary badge said she was, an event logistics coordinator finishing another long shift. "Sergeant," Maya said carefully, "call your supervisor before you do this." Walker heard resistance where she was offering him an exit. "Turn around." Maya slowly obeyed. Cold metal closed around one wrist, then the other. She did not pull away. She did not raise her voice. She listened instead. Rain against concrete. The low idle of the patrol cruiser. The faint radio chatter behind Walker. Then Miller spoke. "Sergeant, the plate is not coming back as stolen." Walker looked toward him. "Registered. Owner. North Star Fleet Services. Does she match the registered owner?" Miller shook his head. "It is a company." Maya closed her eyes for one brief second. North Star was supposed to mean nothing to local police. That was the point. The sedan belonged to the federal task force through a controlled corporate registration designed to protect operational vehicles. Walker turned back to her. "Why are you driving a company car that you cannot explain?" "I can explain it," Maya said. "Just not to everyone standing here." Another patrol vehicle entered the block, emergency lights reflecting red and blue across the wet garage walls. Maya looked toward Nathan again. His sport utility vehicle shifted into motion. Slowly. Quietly. The distance between it and the exit began disappearing. Miller followed her gaze. "Who is that?" Maya did not answer him. Walker tightened his expression. "Ms. Reynolds, if there is something you need to tell us, now would be the time." Maya almost laughed at the irony. He finally wanted an explanation after putting her in handcuffs. She turned her head enough to see Walker over her shoulder. "I told you what to do before you touched me." "Which was?" "Call your supervisor." Nathan's vehicle moved another 20 feet. Maya felt the operation slipping away with every second. She had spent weeks learning his routines, waiting for him to lead investigators to the buyer behind a network of stolen luxury vehicles. Tonight was supposed to be the night. Instead, she was standing handcuffed beside the very car that had helped her get close enough to him. Miller looked at his sergeant. "Maybe we should make that call." Walker hesitated. Maya watched Nathan's taillights approach the exit. Her voice became quieter. "Sergeant, you still think the problem on this block is standing in front of you?" Walker looked at her. Maya looked toward the moving vehicle. "You are about to find out how wrong that is." 3 hours earlier, Maya Reynolds had been walking through the Grand Meridian Hotel with a clipboard tucked against her side and a temporary event logistics badge clipped neatly to her blazer. To everyone passing through the ballroom, she looked like another employee managing deliveries, seating charts, and last-minute vendor problems before an expensive corporate dinner. That was exactly what she needed. For 6 weeks, Maya had been building a life that Nathan Cole would never question. She knew which service elevator reached the underground garage without crossing the main lobby. She knew when the banquet kitchen changed shifts. She knew which loading entrance stayed open after 10 o'clock. Most importantly, she knew Nathan had finally become comfortable enough to stop checking whether she belonged there. At 8:20 that evening, Maya stood beside a table of unopened wine glasses while Nathan crossed the ballroom in a charcoal coat, speaking quietly with a man she had seen only once before. Nathan was not the person stealing luxury vehicles from driveways or parking structures. He was more careful than that. Investigators believed he connected drivers, storage locations, fraudulent paperwork, altered vehicle identification numbers, and buyers willing to move expensive cars across state lines. Catching Nathan alone would not be enough. Maya needed him to lead the federal task force to the people behind him. A nearly invisible earpiece rested beneath her hair. Special Agent Claire Donovan's voice came through softly. "Cole is moving." Maya kept her eyes on the seating chart in front of her. "I see him. Buyer contact may be tonight." "Understood." Nathan approached the service corridor, then stopped beside Maya. "Long shift?" he asked. Maya gave him the tired smile she had practiced until it no longer felt practiced. "I have been here since noon." Nathan glanced at her clipboard. "You hotel people work harder than the guests." "That is because guests complain better than they work." He laughed once. Nothing in his face suggested suspicion. Then he continued toward the garage. Maya waited 40 seconds before following through the service hallway. Fluorescent lights replaced the ballroom's warm glow. The air smelled faintly of cleaning solution and damp concrete. Claire spoke again. "Do not crowd him. Secondary team is west of the property." "Copy." Maya reached the lower garage and saw Nathan near a dark sport utility vehicle approximately 90 feet away. He checked his phone, looked toward the ramp, then placed something inside the center console. Maya continued toward the black sedan assigned to her cover. The vehicle belonged to the task force through North Star Fleet Services, a controlled corporate registration designed to keep an operational car from pointing directly toward a federal agency. Maya unlocked it and placed her clipboard on the passenger seat. Through the windshield, she watched Nathan without turning her head. He was waiting. That mattered. If he left and the surveillance team followed him naturally, he could lead them to the buyer they had been trying to identify for more than a month. Maya started the engine. Then she noticed a hotel guest near the garage entrance staring at her. The woman looked at Maya's temporary staff badge, then at the luxury sedan, then back at Maya. Her expression changed. Maya had seen that look before. A conclusion forming faster than a question. The woman raised her phone and stepped beneath the awning. "Claire," Maya said quietly. "Possible civilian complication." "What kind?" "Someone is making a call while watching my vehicle." A pause. "Maintain cover." Maya checked the mirror. Nathan was still waiting. Less than 3 minutes later, blue light appeared against the wet wall near the garage entrance. A patrol cruiser turned onto the property. Maya's stomach tightened. Nathan looked toward the same reflection. Then another police vehicle appeared farther down the street. Claire's voice became sharper. "Maya, do not expose yourself unless the operation is compromised." Maya opened the sedan door and stepped out before the first cruiser stopped. She kept her hands visible. Sergeant Ethan Walker emerged from the driver's side. Officer Jason Miller moved around the passenger door. Walker looked at Maya, then at the expensive sedan, and something in his expression settled too quickly. "Ma'am, step away from the vehicle." Maya obeyed. Across the garage, Nathan quietly closed his sport utility vehicle door. The night had just changed. 10 minutes before Ethan Walker placed Maya Reynolds in handcuffs, he was sitting behind the wheel of his patrol cruiser 2 blocks from the Grand Meridian, finishing the last lines of a traffic report while rain tapped steadily against the windshield. Officer Jason Miller sat beside him, reviewing the mobile terminal with a paper cup of coffee balanced near his knee. The radio broke the quiet. "Unit 12, respond to the Grand Meridian Hotel parking structure. Possible stolen luxury vehicle. Caller reports a black female wearing a hotel staff badge entering a black sedan. Ownership unconfirmed." Walker reached for the radio. "Unit 12 responding." Miller looked at the dispatch screen. Do we have a stolen plate? Negative confirmation at this time, dispatch answered. Caller contacted hotel security after observing what she described as suspicious access to the vehicle. Miller frowned. No owner complaint. None reported. Walker put the cruiser in gear. Rain streaked across the side windows as they turned toward the hotel. Could be nothing, Miller said. Could be, Walker replied. Then why are we treating it like a theft? Walker glanced at him. We are not. We are checking it out. But something had already shifted in his voice. Ethan Walker had spent more than 20 years in patrol work. He trusted patterns, body language, and the instincts that experience had built into him. He believed quick judgment could keep a small problem from becoming a larger one. What he did not always recognize was the moment when experience stopped gathering facts and started filling in the missing ones. The Grand Meridian appeared ahead, its glass entrance glowing gold against the gray rain. Walker turned into the parking structure. Before the cruiser came to a complete stop, he saw the black sedan near the service lane. Then he saw Maya standing beside it. Dark blazer. Temporary hotel badge. Expensive vehicle. She looked toward their cruiser, then immediately toward the far garage exit. Walker noticed that second look. There, he said. Miller followed his gaze. She is not moving. Not yet. Walker stepped out. Ma'am, step away from the vehicle. Maya obeyed immediately. She moved several feet away and kept both hands visible. Miller approached the passenger side of the sedan while Walker remained focused on her. Is this your vehicle? Walker asked. Run the plate, Maya said. I asked whether it is your vehicle. And I am telling you to verify it. Walker's eyes narrowed. Identification. Maya looked toward the garage again. Call your supervisor first. Miller glanced up from the mobile terminal inside the cruiser. The plate return had started loading. Sergeant, give it a second. Walker did not turn. Why do I need my supervisor? Maya's expression remained controlled. Because this is not the situation you think it is. To Miller, the sentence sounded strange but deliberate. To Walker, it sounded evasive. Turn around. Maya stayed still. You have not established that the car is stolen. Turn around, ma'am. Call your supervisor. Miller looked back at the screen. Sergeant, the plate is returning to North Star Fleet Services. No stolen hit. Walker finally glanced toward him. Who is the authorized driver? The record does not list an individual here. Walker turned back to Maya. Then we verify her. Maya's gaze moved past his shoulder. Deep inside the garage, a dark sport utility vehicle had switched on its running lights. Miller saw her expression change. Not fear. Urgency. What is she watching? He asked. Walker followed her eyes only briefly before looking back at Maya. Hands behind your back. Miller stared at him. Sergeant, the car is not reported stolen. Walker answered without looking away from Maya. We are detaining her until we establish what is going on. Maya slowly turned around. You already have enough information to know what is not going on. Walker reached for the handcuffs. We will sort that out. Maya looked once more toward the dark sport utility vehicle. Its lights brightened as it began moving toward the exit. Her voice stayed low. No, Sergeant. You are sorting out the wrong person. The second handcuff closed, and Maya heard Nathan Cole's sport utility vehicle begin rolling toward the garage exit. She kept her breathing even. Panic would not help her. Anger would not help the operation. What she needed was time, and Sergeant Ethan Walker was spending it on the wrong person. Sergeant, look at the garage, she said. Walker checked the cuffs, then stepped back. We are going to establish who owns this vehicle first. You already know who owns it. North Star Fleet Services owns it. You have not explained why you are driving it. Maya turned her head enough to see Officer Jason Miller beside the cruiser. Officer Miller, did the plate return as stolen? Miller hesitated. No, has anyone reported this specific vehicle stolen? Not according to what I have. Walker looked at Miller. We are still verifying access. Maya let the silence sit between them. The facts were arriving one by one, but Walker kept treating each new fact as an obstacle to his conclusion instead of a reason to reconsider it. Call your supervisor, she said again. Walker exhaled slowly. You keep asking for a supervisor without giving me a reason. The reason is standing 80 feet behind you. Walker finally turned toward the service lane. Nathan's dark vehicle had reached the exit queue behind a hotel shuttle. Its brake lights glowed red against the wet concrete. Who is he? Walker asked. Someone I cannot discuss with you in front of this hotel. That is not an answer. It is the only answer I can safely give you. Miller studied Maya more carefully. She was handcuffed, surrounded by police, and still more concerned about another vehicle than her own situation. Sergeant, he said quietly, she has not tried to leave. She has not changed her story. The car is not listed as stolen. Walker's jaw tightened. And she still cannot explain why she has it. Maya looked toward him. Not cannot. Will not, until you bring the right person into this conversation. Another patrol cruiser entered the garage lane with emergency lights flashing. Blue and red reflections swept across the ceiling and spilled through the hotel's glass doors. Several guests stopped inside the lobby. One raised a phone. Maya felt the operation shrink another inch. Nathan would see the lights. He would see the uniforms. If he believed law enforcement had discovered him, 6 weeks of surveillance could end before he reached the buyer. Turn those lights off, Maya said. Walker looked at her sharply. You are detained. You are not directing my officers. Then direct them yourself. Her voice remained low. Every additional light makes this worse. Worse for who? Maya looked straight at him. That is the question you should have asked before you put me in handcuffs. Miller glanced toward the hotel entrance. The woman who had made the original call stood beneath the awning, watching. Dispatch, Miller said into his radio, confirmed the original complaint. Did the caller witness forced entry, damaged locks, or anyone claiming the vehicle was taken? Static answered first. Then dispatch returned. Negative. Caller reported a hotel employee entering a luxury sedan and believed the activity was suspicious. Miller slowly lowered the radio. Walker heard it too. Maya watched his expression change, but only slightly. She saw me open a car, Maya said. That was the evidence. Walker remained silent. She saw my hotel badge, Maya continued, then saw the car, and decided those two things did not belong together. Walker looked toward the sedan. Maya did not let him escape into the vehicle. Then you arrived and made the same decision faster. His eyes returned to hers. I responded to a theft call. You responded to an assumption. The hotel shuttle moved forward. Nathan's sport utility vehicle followed. Its front wheels crossed the garage threshold. Miller stepped toward Walker. Sergeant, we need the supervisor. This time Walker did not dismiss him. He reached for his radio. Maya watched Nathan's vehicle turn onto the street. Make the call quickly, she said. Because the person you thought you were protecting the city from is standing here in handcuffs, and the person my team has been waiting 6 weeks to follow is driving away. Walker's hand remained near his radio as Nathan Cole's sport utility vehicle disappeared into the rain beyond the garage entrance. Maya watched the taillights vanish around the corner and felt 6 weeks of careful work moving farther away with every second. Call your supervisor, she said. Walker looked at her over his shoulder. I am doing that. Then tell him the plate is not stolen, there is no owner complaint, and I asked for supervision before you detained me. Miller stood beside the cruiser, listening. Walker keyed his radio and requested Captain Robert Hayes. Dispatch answered that the captain was several minutes away. Maya closed her eyes briefly. Several minutes could be an hour in surveillance work. Claire Donovan's voice came faintly through the earpiece hidden beneath Maya's hair. Maya, Cole is westbound. Secondary team still has visual. Relief came, but only slightly. Her team had not lost him yet. Walker noticed the small movement near her ear. What is that? Maya did not answer. Are you wearing an earpiece? Miller stepped closer, studying her without touching her. Sergeant, she is. Walker's expression changed. Who are you talking to? Maya turned enough to face him. Someone you do not want me identifying in front of everyone watching us. Walker glanced toward the lobby. More guests had gathered behind the glass. The original caller remained beneath the awning. Another patrol vehicle had stopped near the entrance, its lights painting the wet walls in red and blue. You expect me to believe you are involved in some kind of operation? Walker asked. I expect you to stop guessing. Maya's voice remained calm. That is what created this problem. Miller looked toward the street where Nathan had disappeared. If she was lying, why would she keep asking for a supervisor? Walker did not respond. Maya could feel the cold metal around her wrists, but she refused to let the discomfort become the center of the moment. Nathan was still the priority. Claire's voice returned. Cole is slowing near Jefferson Avenue. Unknown sedan has joined him. Possible buyer contact. Maya's pulse quickened. That was the connection they had been waiting for. Copy, she whispered. Walker heard it. Who are you talking to? Sergeant, listen carefully. Maya lowered her voice. There is a black credential wallet inside the left side of my coat. Miller and Walker exchanged a look. Credential for what? Walker asked. I am not saying it out loud. Why? Because if the wrong person hears it, tonight is over. Walker looked skeptical, but Miller no longer did. Sergeant, we should check it. Maya turned slightly toward Miller. Do not reach into my coat without telling me first. Miller nodded. Understood. Walker stepped closer. You said there is identification inside. A credential wallet. Left interior pocket. He studied her face. And you could have shown this before we put you in handcuffs. Maya looked directly at him. I could have exposed 6 weeks of federal work because a stranger decided I did not look like I belonged in an expensive car. The words landed harder than if she had shouted them. Walker glanced toward the hotel windows again. Maya continued. I was trying to protect the operation and give you every opportunity to verify the facts without forcing me to reveal myself. Miller spoke quietly. Sergeant, Captain Hayes is coming. We can wait. Maya shook her head. No. You do not have time to wait. Claire's voice sounded again. Maya, the unknown sedan is following Cole into an industrial district. We may have the meeting location. Maya looked at Walker. The situation just changed. He stared at the hidden earpiece, then at her restrained hands. What do you need me to do? It was the first useful question he had asked all night. Maya answered immediately. Remove one cuff long enough for me to retrieve the wallet, or have Officer Miller retrieve it with my permission. Then call your watch commander and verify me through the proper chain. Walker hesitated. Maya held his gaze. You wanted proof. I am giving you proof. Miller stepped forward. Sergeant. Walker finally nodded. All right. Maya let out one controlled breath. And when you see what is inside, do not say the agency name over the radio. Walker gave Miller a brief nod. Retrieve it exactly where she said. Miller stepped behind Maya and spoke before moving. Ms. Reynolds, I am going to reach into the left interior pocket of your coat. Understood. His movements were slow and deliberate. His fingers found the edge of a slim black leather wallet and pulled it free. For a moment, it looked ordinary beneath the cold garage lights. Then Miller opened it. His face changed first. The guarded expression disappeared. His eyes moved from the federal seal to Maya's photograph, then to the credentials printed beside it. Sergeant, he said quietly. Walker stepped closer. Miller angled the wallet so only Walker could see it. Rain hissed beyond the garage entrance. A patrol radio crackled somewhere behind them, but neither officer answered. Walker read the identification once. Then again. He looked at Maya. You are telling me this is current? Maya's voice stayed level. Do not rely on me telling you anything. Verify it. Walker glanced at the credential. How? Call your watch commander. Tell him you need an urgent identity verification involving a federal operation. Have him contact Special Agent Claire Donovan through the established law enforcement channel. Walker's eyes narrowed slightly. You could have shown us this from the beginning. Maya looked toward the street where Nathan Cole had vanished minutes earlier. And everyone behind those hotel windows could have seen it too. Walker followed her gaze. Several guests remained near the glass, though the excitement had begun to fade. My cover was not designed for a parking garage full of phones, Maya said. I asked you to verify the car. I asked for a supervisor. I gave you every chance to slow this down without exposing me. Miller closed the wallet but kept it in his hand. Sergeant, we need to make the call. Walker finally reached for his department phone. He moved several feet away from the crowd and contacted the watch commander. Maya listened to his side of the conversation while Claire's voice came through her hidden earpiece. Maya, Cole is still moving. Surveillance has him 6 miles west. Unknown sedan remains behind him. Maya breathed out slowly. Maintain distance. Do not change the pattern. Walker heard her speak and looked back. The difference now was immediate. He was no longer asking who she was talking to. He was beginning to understand why. Watch commander is contacting your supervisor, he said. Maya nodded. Good. Another minute passed. It felt longer. Miller stood beside her holding the credential wallet, his attention shifting between Maya and Walker. I should have pushed harder. When the plate came back clean, he said quietly. Maya looked at him. You knew something did not fit. Yes. Then remember that feeling next time. Miller lowered his eyes. Walker's phone rang. He answered immediately. Sergeant Walker. His posture changed as he listened. Yes, Captain. A pause. Yes, sir. I have the credential in front of me. Another pause. His face lost what remained of its certainty. Understood. He ended the call but did not move. Maya watched him. Captain Hayes. Walker nodded. He confirmed your identity through Special Agent Donovan. Maya waited. Walker looked at the handcuffs around her wrists, then at the badge Miller still held. For the first time that night, the physical contradiction seemed impossible to ignore. A woman he had treated as a suspected car thief stood restrained while her verified federal credential rested in his partner's hand. Remove the cuffs, Walker said. Miller stepped forward immediately. The metal opened with 2 small clicks. Maya brought her hand slowly in front of her. She did not rub her wrists. She did not smile. She held out one hand for the credential wallet. Miller returned it. Maya closed it and placed it back inside her coat. Walker started to speak. Agent Reynolds, Maya stopped him with a quiet look. Not yet. Walker fell silent. Her earpiece came alive again. Claire's voice was sharper now. Maya, Cole just entered an industrial property on Jefferson. The second vehicle followed him through the gate. We may have the buyer. Maya turned toward the garage exit. The handcuffs were gone, but the night was not repaired. Sergeant, she said, if you want to help fix what happened here, turn off the unnecessary lights, move your backup units away from this entrance, and make this hotel look normal again. Walker looked at her for 1 second, then reached for his radio. This time, he did not argue. Walker raised his radio and looked toward the patrol cars still reflecting red and blue across the hotel glass. All units at the Grand Meridian, shut down unnecessary emergency lights and move away from the main entrance. Keep the service lane open. For several seconds, nothing changed. Then, one light bar went dark. Another followed. The bright colors disappeared from the wet concrete one vehicle at a time until the garage returned to ordinary white ceiling lights and the muted gold glow of the hotel lobby. The sudden quiet felt almost physical. Maya could hear rain striking the street beyond the entrance. She could hear the ventilation system above them. She could hear her own breathing again. Walker directed 2 backup units toward another block and told the remaining officer to stay out of view from the garage. Miller moved the original cruiser away from the service lane. Nobody questioned why anymore. Maya touched the earpiece beneath her hair. Claire, local police presence is clearing. Special Agent Claire Donovan answered immediately. Good. Cole is 9 miles west at an industrial property near Jefferson Avenue. The unknown sedan entered behind him. Surveillance confirms at least 2 additional people inside. Maya closed her eyes for half a second. The operation had survived. Do not move until the full team is positioned. Understood. Walker stood several feet away, listening only to Maya's side of the conversation. 10 minutes earlier, every unexplained detail had made him more suspicious. Now those same details were rearranging the entire night in front of him. Captain Robert Hayes arrived in an unmarked vehicle without emergency lights. He stepped from the driver's side and approached the group beneath the garage entrance. Agent Reynolds. Maya nodded. Captain. Hayes looked toward Walker. I spoke with Special Agent Donovan. I know enough to understand what happened. Walker straightened. Captain, I can explain the stop. Hayes held up one hand. You will explain it. Not here. His voice remained controlled. For now, we protect the active investigation and preserve every record from this encounter. Miller looked at him. Body camera footage too. Especially the body camera footage. Miller nodded. I want mine reviewed. Walker glanced at his younger partner. Miller continued before anyone could interrupt. The plate was not reported stolen. Dispatch confirmed there was no owner complaint. I knew the information did not support what we were assuming, and I did not push hard enough. Hayes studied him. Put exactly that in your report. Maya watched Miller absorb the words. No dramatic confession. No public punishment. Just the uncomfortable beginning of accountability. Claire returned through the earpiece. Maya, Cole has met with the second vehicle. We have visual confirmation of the suspected buyer. Additional surveillance units are in position. Maya felt the tension in her shoulders loosen for the first time that night. Maintain the original plan. Walker looked toward her. You still have him? My team never completely lost him. Then we did not ruin the case. Maya met his eyes. You came close. Walker lowered his gaze. Rainwater ran in thin lines along the edge of the garage roof. Hayes stepped away to speak quietly with dispatch, leaving Walker, Miller, and Maya in a pocket of silence. Walker finally said, I thought I was responding to a stolen vehicle. Maya looked toward the black sedan. You were responding to a report about a woman entering a vehicle. The caller believed it was suspicious. And you decided her belief deserved more weight than the facts arriving in front of you. Walker did not answer. Maya continued. The plate came back clean. Nobody reported the car missing. I followed your instructions. I asked for supervision. Every new fact gave you a reason to slow down. Walker looked at the handcuffs now hanging from his duty belt. I did not slow down. No, Maya held his gaze. You accelerated. Claire's voice interrupted them. Maya, confirmation received. Cole is inside with the buyer. The operation is back on track. Maya answered softly. Copy. She looked at Walker again. The badge did not make me innocent, Sergeant. Walker remained still. Maya turned toward the sedan. The facts already did. Captain Robert Hayes waited until the last unnecessary patrol car disappeared around the corner before turning back toward Ethan Walker. The Grand Meridian looked ordinary again. Rainwater moved along the curb, hotel guests returned to the lobby, and the black sedan sat beneath the garage lights as quietly as it had before anyone called police. Maya. Reynolds stood beside it with her credential hidden inside her coat and her hands free. Claire Donovan's voice came through the earpiece. Maya, surveillance confirms Cole is meeting with 2 people inside the Jefferson property. 1 vehicle matches the suspected buyer network. We are holding position. Maya answered softly. Keep it quiet. Let them establish the connection. Walker watched her. You are not taking him now? Not yet. Why? Maya looked toward him. Because Nathan Cole is useful only if he leads us to the people who make the system work. Walker glanced at Hayes, then back at Maya. What system? She hesitated, deciding how much he needed to know. Stolen luxury vehicles move through several hands. Drivers take them. Other people alter paperwork and vehicle identification records. Storage locations keep them out of sight. Buyers move them across state lines. Cole connects those pieces. Tonight he was supposed to show us who was waiting at the other end. Miller stood near the cruiser, listening. And the police cars almost warned him. Maya nodded. Yes. Walker looked toward the wet pavement. Because of me. Maya did not soften the answer. Because you decided what was happening before you finished checking what was happening. Hayes stepped closer. Every body camera recording from tonight is being preserved. Dispatch audio too. The original call, plate return, radio traffic, everything. Walker nodded slowly. Understood. Hayes looked at Miller. Your report needs to include when the plate came back without a stolen record and when dispatch confirmed there was no owner complaint. It will. And your decision not to challenge the detention sooner. Miller swallowed. Yes, sir. Maya watched him. Miller had already admitted his silence once, and now he was willing to put it into an official record. That mattered. Walker looked at Maya. What happens to the caller? That is not my decision. Hayes answered instead. The caller reported what she believed she saw. The review will focus on what officers did with the information after they arrived. Maya appreciated the distinction. The first assumption had started the night, but Walker had been given opportunities to correct it. The clean plate. The lack of an owner complaint. Maya's cooperation. Her repeated request for supervision. Each fact had opened a door. He had walked past every one. Claire's voice returned. Maya, we have enough. Cole presented paperwork to the buyer. Surveillance confirms the warehouse connection. The team is moving under the planned operation. Maya's shoulders lowered slightly. Copy. She removed the earpiece and held it in her palm for a moment. 6 weeks had not been lost. Walker seemed to read the answer on her face. You got what you needed. My team did. I am glad. Maya looked at him. Do not confuse the case surviving with what happened here being acceptable. Walker's expression tightened. I am not. Good. Hayes received a call and stepped away. Miller followed him toward the cruiser, leaving Maya and Walker beneath the edge of the garage roof. Rain fell just beyond them. Walker looked at the handcuffs on his duty belt. When I arrived, I saw the hotel badge in the car. Maya waited. I thought they did not fit. Why? Walker was silent long enough that the question became uncomfortable. Because I had already decided what someone driving that car should look like. Maya held his gaze. There it was. Not an excuse. Not a misunderstanding polished into something harmless. The assumption itself. And when the facts disagreed with you, she asked. Walker looked down. I kept trying to make the facts fit what I had already decided. Maya nodded once. That is the part you need to remember. Walker looked back at her. I owe you an apology. You owe the next person better judgment. He absorbed that quietly. Maya opened the sedan door, then stopped. My badge changed how you saw me. Walker said nothing. But it did not change what was true before you saw it. She placed one hand on the door. I was not innocent because I was federal. I was innocent because I had done nothing wrong. Walker lowered his eyes toward the pavement. Behind Maya, the hotel doors opened and closed. Normal life had returned to the block. The investigation would continue. The review would begin. And for the first time that night, Ethan Walker had no answer ready. For weeks later, Maya Reynolds stepped out of a federal office building shortly after 5 in the afternoon with a paper cup of coffee warming both hands. The city looked ordinary in the fading light. Cars moved through the intersection. Office workers crossed toward parking garages. Somewhere behind her, another workday was ending. The investigation into Nathan Cole had ended differently. After leaving the Grand Meridian, Cole led surveillance teams to the industrial property near Jefferson Avenue, where investigators documented the buyer connection they had spent 6 weeks trying to identify. Financial records and vehicle documents later connected several people, storage locations, and businesses to the larger network. Maya never thought of the result as compensation for what happened at the hotel. The case surviving did not erase the moment when she had stood beside a vehicle with her hands restrained while verified facts were ignored. Captain Robert Hayes understood that distinction too. The department preserved every body camera recording, dispatch call, plate inquiry, and radio transmission from the stop. The review confirmed that the sedan had never returned as stolen, no registered owner had reported it missing, and the original caller had reported suspicion rather than witnessing an actual theft. Officer Jason Miller submitted a complete statement, including his own failure to challenge the detention sooner after the information stopped supporting it. Sergeant Ethan Walker was temporarily reassigned from patrol while the department completed its administrative review and required him to begin additional instruction on investigative stops, de-escalation, and bias awareness. Maya had been asked whether she wanted to make a public statement. She declined. She wanted the record to be accurate. She wanted the next officer reading that record to understand where the stop had gone wrong. Humiliation was temporary. A lesson written honestly could last longer. Maya crossed toward a small parking lot when a patrol cruiser slowed near the curb. No emergency lights. No siren. The cruiser stopped, and Ethan Walker stepped out. Maya stopped walking. Walker remained several feet away. Agent Reynolds. Sergeant. He looked different without the urgency of the hotel around him. Less certain. More careful. I heard the Cole investigation was successful. It was. Walker nodded. I am glad. Maya waited. He looked toward the street, then back at her. I have replayed that night more times than I can count. Maya said nothing. The caller did not report a confirmed theft. The plate was clean. There was no owner complaint. You followed every instruction I gave you. His voice lowered. And I kept looking for reasons to make my first assumption true. Maya held the coffee between her palms. Why? Walker took a breath. Because I saw a hotel employee beside an expensive car and decided the picture did not fit. He met her eyes. I decided what someone driving that car should look like before I knew anything about you. The admission hung between them. Maya did not rush to forgive him. Knowing that now does not change what happened. I know. It changes what you do when it happens again. Walker nodded. That is what I am trying to change. Maya looked at his patrol cruiser. Then remember, the next person may not have a credential wallet. Walker lowered his eyes. I understand. Do you? Maya asked. He looked back at her. My badge changed the way you treated me. It did not change whether I deserved patience before you saw it. Walker nodded slowly. You deserved that from the beginning. Maya's expression softened, but there was no triumph in it. Then give it from the beginning. Walker returned to his cruiser. There was no handshake, no dramatic promise, no moment pretending one apology could repair every assumption a person had carried for years. He simply started the engine and pulled into traffic. The cruiser disappeared down the block without flashing lights or sound. Maya continued toward the parking lot. Her credential remained hidden inside her coat. Her hands were free, wrapped naturally around the warm paper cup. For the first time since that night, she thought about the handcuffs without remembering their weight. What remained was the question underneath everything that had happened. If Maya had not been a federal investigator, if she had simply been an ordinary black woman driving her own car, what should those officers have done differently before deciding who she was?